Hi guys, welcome to the Fight Tonight channel. Pay-per-view star Gervonta Davis re-ordered to face Rolando Romero for the WBA secondary lightweight title was met with groans by disgruntled fans. Davis and Romero were initially penciled in the clash in late 2021, after Romero pulled out to address allegations of sexual assault as Cruz stepped in. Tank defeated Cruz to defend his title. The consensus then hoped that Davis would go after one of the top 5 at 135 pounds. Everyone crossed fingers that Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe would begin pursuing more significant names. Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko and Garcia, Devin Haney, or even the super champion to his belt, Kambosos Jr. It was not to be as the WBA intervened Gervonta Davis' order. Therefore, on January 21st, they put out a release. They clarified who Davis must defend his belt against next. The WBA ordered a lightweight world title fight, a fight between champion Gervonta Davis and mandatory challenger Rolando Romero. The pioneer body sent a formal communication to both teams of both fighters. They will have 30 days, which expires next February 24th, to reach an agreement. There are just 15 days left of that deadline. It's not thought that Mayweather promotions are looking anywhere else than a Davis vs Romero pay-per-view rerun. However, fans expressed their disappointment. They groaned that Davis wouldn't be sharing the ring with one of the top 5. Paper mandatory for a paper belt and for paper pay-per-view numbers, said one. Another added, "Brilliant fight," said no fans anywhere. A third stated, "When are Tank and Loma going to fight?" But they want Terence Crawford to sign with Mayweather Promotions. It was thought that the WBA might order Kambosos vs Davis to continue their assault on the number of titles available. One commentator certainly thinks he knows why this didn't happen. Tank's promoters would not want to be made mandatory to Kambosos. This dictates the split and terms of the fight. Given Tank's star power, he would want to fight on better financial terms than the mandatory. No more, Ollie. Romero gets his opportunity after clearing his name. Mayweather obviously believes his man deserves a second chance to get the money. 3.5 months of my name being slandered with false accusations, to having to miss out on opportunities and cheated out of my dream, said Romero. Cheated out of a massive amount of wealth. The investigation into the allegations made against me has been formally closed. Charges were not filed. The allegations could not be substantiated because I am innocent, as I always stated. I am now the symbol of freedom, purity and love, said the lightweight challenger. Furthermore, an announcement on Davis vs Romero is due this month. Friends, before starting to watch this video, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. If you really enjoy the content, then please subscribe to my channel and keep watching the videos. If you are subscribed, then you receive notifications about the release of new videos. You do not even have to look for anything personally. I really want to get 100 subscribers on my channel. I'm trying very hard, absolutely every day, and I need your support. Your likes, comments, reposts to social networks. Thanks to everyone who subscribes to my channel. Thank you for 20 subscribers. You are my support. Thank you so much. Eddie Hearn says, Devin Haney will do whatever it takes to fight Kambosos Jr. The Matchroom Promoters was speaking on the DAZN boxing show. Eddie Hearn has made it clear that Devin Haney will do whatever it takes to fight George. The two lightweights have declared themselves willing to fight one another to decide the undisputed lightweight clone, but other fighters such as Vasyl Lomachenko are also in the mix. Speaking on DAZN boxing show, Hearn redoubled his calls for a Haney-Kambosos fight. I was with Devin last night. We can't make it any clearer. Cut the rubbish. We will do whatever it takes to make that fight. he said. I said that to both people, George Kambosos right now is slightly delusional about the money he thinks he should make. That's the case for all fighters. If you want legacy, if you want undisputed, Devin is on board. My message to the Kambosos terms is whatever it takes. He will be there. We need this fight for the undisputed. Devin will fight in Kambosos' backyard to fight for the undisputed championship. We haven't had a deal offered to us so far. Call out bluff, make the offer, and we will be on the plane. If you want it, you've got to go and get it. If you are Devin and you flew to Australia and dethroned the Emperor, you'd become a superstar overnight, said Hearn. Absolute lightweight champion George Kambosos Jr. intends to make his debut defense of all belts in his native Australia against one of the top contenders. Ukrainian Vasyl Lomachenko or Americans Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis and Garcia. Gervonta Davis, the owner of the ALO Leaders jersey, recused himself. Davis, by and large, didn't consider the option of a fight with the Kambosos. The former reason is the commitment of the WBA to defend with compatriot Rolando Romero. Gervonta has a minor WBA world title. The actual reason is the unwillingness to fight on the opponent's territory in a risky duel. Davis have their own sandbox. Only one thing can change the situation: the second failure on pay-per-view in a row. But even in this case, we are talking about the second half of the year at most. Vasyl Lomachenko immediately seemed like a clear underdog of the race. Firstly, only he has already had 2 defeats in his career. Secondly, the financial cost is lower than that of competitors. Thirdly, ESPN and the top-ranked company is financially inferior to DAZN and Showtime/Fox. Lomachenko's advantages: he will take the fight on the road without any questions. With a high degree of probability, he will agree in comparison with colleges to the lowest fee. Devin Haney. Haney had a pole position. Thanks to the WBC, there was confusion with the status of an absolute champion of the division, because formally Haney is the owner of a full-fledged title, and Kambosos is a franchise. The question was whether the American would put forward unaffordable demands for a fee. To be honest, there is another point. Haney visually seems to be the most digestible opponent for Kambosos, without a blow, with holes in the defense, a little lost under powerful pressure. That is, this option is not just to sell the title of absolute more expensive, but at least try to do it twice. Lomachenko for Kambosos is just an ordinary title defense. Garcia is the joker of the equation. Due to the injury and mental problems, I have not entered the ring for more than a calendar year. But it is still the main asset of DAZN, in which streaming is investing happily. Moreover, we are talking about a duel on pay-per-view and the conquest of a new region, the promoter of the product in Australia. The advantages of Garcia are well known to everyone. He is a huge media personality. He has millions of subscribers in social networks. He is much more recognizable in comparison with the rest of the fighters. Garcia's problem is that he will take an intermediate fight first. The fact that promoter of the fighter, Golden Boy Oscar de la Hoya, is in contact with the promoter of Kambosos, Lou DiBella, is another secret. It is already known that Garcia will fight in April with another fighter of DiBella Entertainment, Emmanuel Tagoya. The best option from the business side is the intermediate fight of Kambosos and Garcia, and their face-to-face fight. But in this case, questions remain. Question number 1. The WBO can make Lomachenko a mandatory contender. This means that with a high degree of probability in this case, the Kambosos will have to give up the title, or Woods will have to promise a fight to the Ukrainian before the fight. Question number 2. Who is the boss in the Kambosos team, a fighter or a promoter? George claims that there will be no intermediate fights. DiBella says otherwise. It looks like he is ready to shake hands with Oscar and Ryan. How important is his image of a truth-teller? Question number 3. Virus. It seems that this factor will soon be resolved by itself. COVID restrictions are being lifted in Australia. The question is who benefits from it. After all, if the quarantine was delayed, it will be possible to immediately agree on a duel with Garcia for the second half of the year, but Kambosos does not intend to wait. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel.